I guess that's the question. And look, I guess I would start by saying I don't know what the people of Greenland want. I believe people everywhere should choose their own government. But here's what I'm hoping for this trip with J.D. Vance and his wife. I'm hoping they make the pitch. I hope they make the case. I hope they say, look, we have mutual shared interests here. This can be a win-win. This could be a huge victory for both of us. So, like you said, security, safety, resources, that's what I'm hoping to see. I don't know how they're going to handle the backlash and some of the concerns and pushback, but I want to turn that to you, Cameron. How do you think this trip is going to go with J.D. Vance?
I see really positive things happening with it, honestly. The reason they're going is I think it's kind of like a charm offensive.
Right.
This island has only about 50,000 people on it. It's absolutely massive.
It's only 50,000.
50,000. It's a very small population.
Wow.
It's a massive island. It's so strategically important for us to have it. But in order for this kind of deal to happen, we do need to, be amicable with these people.
Absolutely.
We need to make friends with them. We want them to get on our side, and we want them to become citizens of the United States. So J.D. Vance going there with his wife now, she announced that she was going earlier, but now he's joining her, I think is a big step to that. They kind of have, as far as I understand, kind of a no government right now, or an interim government, because they just had some re-elections. So they're kind of in a middle ground right now. So I think the timing of that is what kind of angered some of these politicians.
Okay.
Back in January, Donald Trump Jr. went and visited the island, if you remember, just before the inauguration, and he had a great time there with people. They loved him. They greeted him happily with welcome arms, and it all just went really well. So there's some work to do. Obviously, there would have to be some convincing for a lot of people, but I think they could easily get it done. And especially when you look at the benefits that they stand to gain by joining our country, why wouldn't they want to join us? Why would they continue to want to be this island nation with such limited resources, especially if they decide to leave Denmark and want to be their own autonomous country? That's going to be really difficult for them without the backing of a major country like the United States. So I think it can be a really, really great thing.
Absolutely. It's just that's the theory, though, and there's that versus the application. And I don't know how easy it would be. I don't know what the timetable would be, but I will say this. We're moving toward this new world where you have all these competing powers, right? United States, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. And at some point, it would behoove them to, I guess, proverbially take a side. And I would say taking our side would be in their best interest. So I do wonder if that reality is sinking in a little bit as we move to this new world order where you do have these power players on the world stage competing for more territory. And that's what you saw with the early U.S. Look, we expanded across this whole continent. Beautiful thing. I'm all for that. But it becomes a different conversation when you start going to other continents because it's something to manage, to patrol, to govern over. And that comes with some complications. So I don't want to underestimate how difficult it could be to sort of assimilate these countries together and make it so that we can keep hold of this. Because once you have this continental-sized country called America, the big question is, how do you keep it together? So I think we have to focus on that for now. But long term, I do wonder if people in Greenland, voters, not leaders, but the voters, would be interested in maybe just striking a deal. We start with trade relations and diplomatic relations and just build from there. And maybe one day we do kind of merge, I guess, in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, it would be a continental undertaking. But
absolutely,
there was probably the same people that said that about us getting Alaska. Back when that happened in the 50s, people were like, why are we getting this land way over here? Why are we getting this from Russia? It's barren wasteland. And obviously we know the untapped resources that we were able to get into. The same thing applies to Greenland. Sure. And, just like you said in the opening, it's part of North America geographically speaking. Just because, Denmark got there a few hundred years earlier and claimed it doesn't really make it part of Europe. It's not. And they can't really control it like we could. So I think it would be just as easy for us to control Greenland as it would be for us to continue controlling Alaska. So I don't see it as a hurdle for us to overcome. We just want to see this trip with J.D. Vance go well. And I'm really excited about it because it's something that I personally have been championing for a long time. I put a poll up when I was working on Tipping Point with Karen McKinney. We put a poll up and asked people if we should take Greenland over for the United States, and it was a resounding yes. So it seems like the American people would be really, really happy for this kind of thing.
Oh, I believe that because there's so much to gain. So I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I really don't, but I do think it's a very interesting idea. And as far as the spirit goes, I don't know that we've necessarily lost that, pioneering spirit. It's just that new challenges come up because that was colonial America. Now we have so many issues of our own just to deal with in terms of managing this country. So I don't know if it's fair to say we've lost that spirit necessarily. It's just that the nature of our politics has changed and we're in a much different place now as a country. Having said all of that, though, I do like this idea personally, and I hope that people in Greenland look at this trip with J.D. Vance and I hope he is warmly received. I hope they keep an open mind, and I don't know what's going to happen. It's for them to decide ultimately, but I do think we should make the offer and make the case for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to your point about we don't want to extend too far, and I get that totally. That's
Absolutely.
kind of how the Roman Empire felt.
Yeah, overextension can be a real problem.
Yeah, you can't spread yourself too thin. But,
Absolutely.
Roman Empire is very different than America and the capabilities that we have now. The world's a much smaller place, as they say.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And it's very easy to keep communications with people very far away. As Elon Musk said, to continue as a species, we need to go out and get humans on Mars, because an asteroid comes on Earth, we're destroyed, our species is over. For that same mindset is what we need here, where if we want to continue being strong as a country, I think we need to continue gaining resources, continue gaining land. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me why we just stopped years and years ago. And if we don't continue, what are we doing? We're just staying still. We're staying stagnant. And I don't think anybody wants that.
You got to keep moving forward, or else you get stuck. I get that argument. I do.
And we want to be peaceful people. So
course,
it's not like a takeover. We don't want that. We just want
no.
them to come into the fold and join America.
Absolutely. We want this to be a win-win for everybody. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you highlighting some of this information. Again, we'll see what happens with the trip, and we'll be sure to talk about that. But thank you, Cameron.
You're welcome.